Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to Business on News Desk. Now, some local dealers have been reacting to an announcement by President Akufo-Addo on a zero-rated tax on supply of locally produced raw textiles for the next 3 years. The president yesterday noted this will help revamp the local textile industry.
Say high targets and a stamp beboso. Na ebono so bekosoro a ebe high chere say high targets na yefuni ntinu no bia pe high target.
People prefer the high targets because it's cheap. So if the president wants to help, he should ensure that both the locally manufactured fabrics and the imported ones all remain affordable.
Ne bo yedin. Enu ntina nkrofo from high targets no.
The use of Temaport as the sole port of import without checking the Togo border won't solve anything, because the people will continue to smuggle the fabrics through Togo. So at the end of the day, when you take your goods through the Temaport and pay the taxes, your prices will become uncompetitive.
Government needs to invest into the local textile companies so that we could have more of our products on the market, and that is what is going to help trade here in Ghana. To sum it up, from the State of the Nation address, it's 0% taxes for local manufacturers, and also the introduction of the tax stamp and using Temaport as the only port of entry for imported fabrics. But from these market women, they don't really think that is going to solve the problem, because first, to check the smuggling, they believe the porous borders along the Togo port is where government needs to pay critical attention. For others, increasing the prices through taxation is not going to be the solution. But government should find a way to ensure that both locally manufactured and even imported textiles are cheap. For another person, they believe that government needs to revamp the local manufacturers to help address this issue. So these are the varied opinions and suggestions from the traders here at Makola. Reporting for Joy Business, my name is Sheila Tamakro.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, is on a nationwide operation to enforce compliance of the tax stamp policy. Some officials of the tax stamp task force visited some shops unannounced to check whether production is going according to compliance. Leader of the tax stamp task force is Spio Abedu.
The task force is made up of officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority and its customs division. They visited warehouses and production outlets for products listed under the tax stamp policy. Products without tax stamps were forced to be taken off the shelves and confiscated. Defaulters tried unsuccessfully to secure pardon for breaching the law. Leader of the tax stamp task force, Spio Abedu, observes there's a lot of work to upscale what he says is current partial compliance.
The production centers or the manufacturing centers, and we dealt with them. So following from that, we went on to the retailers and wholesalers, and that's what we are on. So if we are able to achieve that, then we will know that we have worked so well. If we are not, then we will go back to the decision. But that will be in the hands of management to do that. But for us now, we're making sure that the outlets, the retail shops, they're all complying. Well, from the places we have visited, we could see that in spite of the warnings given, not all are complying, but I must admit there is some other products that are complying. So overall, we say there's partial compliance. More are complying than not complying, because I think you would expect that total, but you wouldn't get everything. But from when we went to some of the shops, we realized that a majority of the product have the stamps, which is quite higher in terms of compliance compared to last year. So we say there is some positive side.
Mr. Abedu says notice to producers and importers. The enforcement exercise will continue till they fully comply.
Next line of action, you only seize them and then what?
Well, they will be made to pay the full duties and taxes that go with those seized products.
Are there going to be extra fines?
Well, if there need be, it will be.
Okay, so
I told you earlier on, the taxes that goes with them will be worked out with the necessary penalties, and they will be made to pay. If they are unable to pay, the law has other things which, like imprisonment and other things, they are all part of it. But we take it one by one. So for now, we're doing seizure, and then we'll take it from there. If the penalties and duties are worked, they will be made to pay.
Now, banking consultant Nana Utue Champong says government's decision to establish a financial council, advisory council, is in the right direction. Last week, the president officially inaugurated the council with respect to public sector spending. Speaking on Joy Business edition of PM Express last night, Nana Utue Champong said if the council had been inaugurated earlier, this would have prevented some financial situations like the Men's Gold saga.
When you talk of the financial system, many people think it's only the banking system.
The bank's true.
Yes,
very true.
But you got the capital markets, you got the insurance, and then the latest kid on the block is the pensions. You know, so all four together. Now, the representatives on this council will therefore ensure that they talk to each other. And if they talk to each other, instead of living in fiefdoms, you know, then you cannot play one against the other. Because if you take Men's Gold, for instance, initially it was to be caught by the Deposit Taking Institutions Act because they were alleged to have been taking deposits. And then quickly they changed to sell collectibles, which is some investment. And so they moved from being under BOG to becoming under SEC. You know. Now, if the council has been there, then it would not have been that easy to make that move. So I think those are some of the things that we need to, and especially now that we have bank assurance, where banks are giving insurance, or they are also linking up with insurance companies. It also means that we need a system to be able to make sure that we know what each of them is doing. So this Financial Stability Advisory Council, it's a good move, and although theirs is not backed by law as the fiscal one, but still they will have some, because they are advisory. I hope that they will be able to give the right advice and ensure that we don't get people getting through the system.
And that's all in business for now. Bring you more business at midday. My name is Emmanuel Apwachi. Have a good morning.